Well, it looks like Joe Biden stepped in it again by calling legendary hip-hop artist LL Cool J boy in a speech commemorating hip-hop artists in front of the Congressional Black Caucus. Yes, you heard it right. Joe Biden called LL Cool J boy. Now, he quickly changed it and called him man, but we'll get into it. That this is not the first time he's done this. We're also going to talk about the historical significance of the word boy and how it's worse than the N-word. I can tell you personally, it absolutely is. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was the head of my Young Republican group, a few years ago, I was out eating, and this was during the whole thing with Romney, and Obama was running for re-election, and Romney was trying to, win the presidency. And I was out with some people within my group, and there was liberal, saw that I was wearing a Romney something, whatever, and he literally called me boy right in my face and was upset that I was not backing Obama. I've never been called anything derogatory by a conservative or what you would consider a Republican. And it's always been typically a white leftist liberal. Now, of course, black people call the N-word all the time, but even black people don't use the word boy. They say, that's my boy, as if to say, that's my homie, that's my friend, but not in that derogatory term. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's get into this article. We have two we're going to go over. One from the Daily Wire. The second one is from Post Millennial. This particular one on the Daily Wire says, Biden struggles with LL Cool J's name, calls him boy at Black Caucus event. It says here that Joe Biden fumbled LL Cool J's name before calling the rapper boy at a Congressional Black Caucus Foundation event on Saturday. Now, let's first go over some things here. LL Cool J is a legendary hip-hop artist. His name is LL Cool J. It stands for Ladies Love Cool James. His name is actually James Todd Smith. And so that's the backstory there. But the deal with it is that everyone knows who this guy is. Personally, I was a Kool Moe Dee fan back in the day, and there was a big war between Kool Moe Dee and LL Cool J during the breakdancers, which I was at the time. And so, yeah, that was the thing. And so he is absolutely legendary, but I always respected LL Cool J. And for Biden to not know this, he's obviously being fed this to his teleprompter, whatever, telling him what to do and say, but he can't even get that out. And we'll play the clip here in a second. Well, let's just play it right now, actually. Let's just play it and I'll react to it. And then I'll get on about what the Congressional Black Caucus does and what they don't do all the time when it comes to this type of stuff. Listen to this.
One of the great artists of our time, representing a groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J.
And they're laughing. They're laughing. The audience, the Congressional Black Caucus, which is a good time now to talk about them. They are a caucus within the Democrat Party. They are a bunch of black congressional leaders, whatever they are, but they are simply a bunch of step-and fetchits for the Democrat Party. They have no power. And they are an embarrassment. They've always been an embarrassment. Even when I was a Democrat, even when I supported the party and didn't vote Republican at all, even I knew back then that they were sellouts.
5 years ago,
African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded.
And Thomas Sowell talks about this a lot in his books and in his talks, in his debates, where whenever you have a so-called victim class who has a group that is overlooking them in terms of they're going to oversee and try to do the best for them and advocate for them, that group is always going to be a group that is going to use said party to their own advantage, and they're going to keep them down and never do anything for them. For if they did, they themselves will lose power and become, a null and void entity. That goes across all platforms, all countries, all nations, no matter what it is, whether it be here in America or somewhere else around the world. It's consistent. And the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, is the exact same thing. They are a bunch of sellouts, but they will call a black conservative, or anyone for that matter, who thinks outside the narrative, a Uncle Tom, or whatever you want to call, fill in the blank of what you want to say there, and have no problem with that. But then turn right around and have this happen to them laugh, ha ha hee hee, that sounds good, massa. That's a great old talk. And the thing is, they can do that, but and just have no inkling at all of what he's doing. And we'll see later that this is not the first time that Joe Biden has done this.
By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs.
Let's back it up.
By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's an MC Light.
And they're just laughing, hee hee and ha ha. Oh, that's good, that's good. But let me tell you something right now. This is the hidden thing that you probably don't know, that the N-word is bad enough for have someone to call you that in a derogatory fashion. I'm not talking about the A at the end or, homeboy, yo man, what's up, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a person looking at a person in the eye and calling them that with the strong ER at the end of it. That's bad, okay? But what's worse is calling a black man a boy. That to me is worse, probably by 10, because it demeans that person. It demeans who that person is as a man. It defames them. It minuscules them. It elevates the person who says it in a very, very horrible, elitist, snub your nose at somebody fashion. And it is despicable. And for people to use that word is way worse, in my opinion, than the N-word. The N-word is overrated when it comes to that particular term, relatively speaking, to calling somebody a boy. But yet, no one's going to talk about Biden at all. Let's go over to this particular article here on Post Millennial. They have a really good take here because Chucky Booker, I believe that's his name, he's a congressman or senator. He has something to say about this. So the outlet, okay, so let's talk about this here. So Senator Cory Booker, I said Chucky. Democrat Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey called out Biden for using the word boy in an attempt to try to win over voters during his campaign for the 2020 presidential election. Biden frequently used the word when describing his ability to work with segregationist senators. By the way, Joe Biden, his mentor, was a Grand Kligo in the Klan, but no one talks about that. It was his mentor, his admitted mentor, by the way, but I'm digressing. Senator Booker did not find Biden's words amusing and said in a statement, "You don't joke about calling black men boys," unquote. Additionally, Biden used the word boy to describe Maryland's first black governor, Wes Moore, earlier this year, according to the Post. As the Post Millennial previously reported, the term boy was used mainly in American South by white adults, Democrats, to refer to black males of any age, both during and after the era of slavery. Many sensed that by using the word boy, the speaker saw whoever they were addressing as less than them. Exactly. Unequal in the world, an adult speaking to a child. And what's interesting here. This is actually codified in law here. Check this out here. While the word has faded from the vocabulary of most when it is uttered, many still use the offense due to its racist history. According to the Harvard Law and Policy Review, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals found in 2011 that the use of the word boy by a superior to his black employee is sufficient evidence of racism. Now, as bad as that is, now I'm not one to really legislate hate speech, and I don't think that's something we should be doing. But just from a personal matter, this is just personal. It is a derogatory term, and when someone calls you that, you feel a certain way. You're human. You can't get around that. Now, I'm not about necessarily legislating it, but the fact that this court acknowledged that is what it is, imagine if Trump had done that. See, and here it is. The playing field is not the same. Either you call everything on both sides, or you call nothing on both sides. That's how it should be. You call Trump racist for things that are just ridiculous, that are obviously not racism, but then Joe Biden has countless amounts of things he's done and said, and specific allegiances with people in the Klan, close relationships, and nobody says anything. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We know Trump's racist, whatever. It makes the CBC and people who think like them just look totally preposterous and just, like total, absolute sellouts.